Welcome, dear listener, to another quiet voyage through the annals of history with boring history for sleep. Tonight, we step into the world of Edo, Japan, a land of rice paddies and samurai, where the rhythm of life was both serene and unyielding. Picture yourself settling into a moment of calm, letting the weight of the day slip away as we wander through the fields and cities of a time long past. This is not a tale of grand battles or fleeting glory, but a slow, steady exploration of lives lived under the shadow of tradition and order. Over the next 2 hours, we'll immerse ourselves in the daily struggles of a peasant, the ambitions of a shogun, the mysteries of a fading culture, and the quiet beauty of a world bound by ritual. So, find a comfortable place, let your eyes grow heavy, and allow the gentle cadence of history to carry you into rest. Let us begin. Imagine yourself waking at dawn, not in the comfort of your bed, but in a small, thatched hut in a village nestled between mountains and rivers. You are a peasant in Japan's Edo period, and your life is one of toil and duty. Let's step into the rhythm of your days. The air is cool and heavy with the scent of damp earth as you rise from a thin straw mat on the wooden floor of your hut. It's the early 17th century, in the heart of Japan's Edo period, and you are a peasant farmer in a small village under the rule of a distant deity. Your life is governed by the seasons, the demands of your lord, and the unspoken laws of a society that places you firmly at its base. Imagine yourself pulling on a rough hemp tunic, its fibers scratching against your skin, already calloused from years of labor. The hut is dim, lit only by the faint glow of a small fire in the hearth, its smoke curling upward to mingle with the musty smell of thatch. Outside, the world is stirring, but there is no rush, only the steady, unending rhythm of your duties. You step onto the dirt path that winds through the village, your straw sandals sinking slightly into the soft ground. The fields stretch out before you, patches of rice paddies glinting under the rising sun, their surfaces rippling with the morning breeze. Your task today, as it is most days, is to tend these fields. You wade into the muddy water, the cold seeping into your legs, and begin the back-breaking work of planting, weeding, or harvesting, depending on the season. The rice is the lifeblood of your village, but it is not yours to keep. Most of what you grow will go to the daimyo as tax, measured in heavy sacks that you and your neighbors must carry to the castles. The weight of those sacks, slung across your shoulders, presses into your bones, a constant reminder of your place in this ordered world. Your meals are simple, prepared by your family in the dim light of the hut. A bowl of rice, perhaps mixed with barley to stretch it further, is the mainstay, accompanied by pickled radish or a few bitter greens plucked from the edges of the fields. On rare occasions, a small fish from the river adds a fleeting richness to the meal, its faint saltiness, a brief reprieve from the monotony. You eat quickly, sitting cross-legged on the floor, the crackle of the fire and the soft murmurs of your family the only sounds. There is no excess here, no room for indulgence. Hunger is a familiar companion, especially in lean years when floods or droughts ruin the harvest, leaving your stores dangerously low. The village itself is a cluster of similar huts, their thatched roofs weathered by rain and time. You know every face here, neighbors who shared the burden of communal tasks, like repairing irrigation channels or maintaining the shrine to the local kami, the spirits that watch over the land. But life is not without its tensions. The headman, appointed by the daimyo, enforces the rules, collecting taxes and settling disputes. His authority is absolute, and a misstep failing to pay your share or showing disrespect could bring punishment. The samurai who occasionally pass through the village are even more daunting. Clad in armor, their swords glinting at their sides, they embody the power of the ruling class. You lower your eyes as they ride by, knowing that a single act of defiance could end your life in an instant, your existence deemed less valuable than their honor. The days blend into one another, each marked by the same relentless tasks. In spring, you plant the rice, your hands submerged in cold water for hours. In summer, you weed the fields under a sun that burns your neck, the air thick with the hum of insects. Autumn brings the harvest, a frantic race against time to gather the crop before storms arrive. Winter offers no rest, only the task of repairing tools, weaving straw mats, or shoveling snow from paths. Even festivals, moments of communal joy, are tempered by duty. You join the village in offering prayers at the shrine, the scent of incense mingling with the crisp air. But the dances and songs are fleeting, and the work resumes at dawn. There are hardships beyond the labor. Disease is a constant shadow, spreading through the village when wells are tainted or winters are harsh. A fever could claim a child or weaken a worker, leaving families struggling to meet their quotas. The shogunate's laws bind you to the land you cannot leave without permission, and travel is a privilege reserved for the elite. Your life is tethered to this village, its fields, and its demands. Yet, there is a strange rhythm to this existence, a predictability that shapes your days. The rustle of rice stalks in the wind, the distant call of a heron, the soft clink of tools being set down at dusk. These are the sounds that frame your world. As the sun dips below the horizon, you return to your hut, your body aching, but your tasks never truly done. You sit by the fire, mending a torn garment or sharpening a sickle, while the village settles into quiet. The stars are bright above, but you rarely look up. Your life is here, in the earth beneath your feet, in the endless cycle of planting and reaping. It is a life of endurance, of small moments of connection with family and neighbors, but also of unrelenting struggle. You drift toward sleep, the fire's glow fading, knowing that tomorrow will bring the same. As the fire in your peasant hut fades to embers, and the village settles into the quiet of night, let us shift our gaze to a man whose shadow loomed large over the world you inhabit. His name was Tokugawa Ieyasu, a warlord whose patience and cunning would shape the Edo period, forging a Japan of order and isolation. Picture a figure seated in a dimly lit castle, his eyes sharp beneath a simple cap, his hands steady as he traces maps of a fractured land. His life was not one of fields and rice, but of strategy, alliances, and the weight of ambition. Let us wander through the years of his journey, a tale of resilience and calculation, told in the soft cadence of history. Ieyasu was born in 1543, in a time when Japan was a tapestry of warring domains, each ruled by a daimyo vying for power. His early years were not those of a prince, but of a hostage. Imagine a young boy, no older than 6, sent to live among rival clans, his life a bargaining chip in the endless feuds of the Sengoku period. The air in those early castles was thick with tension, the scent of polished wood and oiled steel mingling with the murmurs of plotting retainers. Ieyasu learned early to listen, to wait, to conceal his thoughts behind a quiet demeanor. He was not a brash warrior, charging into battle with a war cry, but a survivor, watching the world with a mind that measured every risk. As a young man, Ieyasu returned to his family's lands in Mikawa, a small domain dwarfed by greater powers. Here, he began to build his strength, not through reckless conquest, but through careful alliances. Picture him kneeling in a tatami-matted room, the soft rustle of silk as he bows to a rival lord, offering loyalty in exchange for protection. His marriage to a noblewoman, his pledges to powerful men like Oda Nobunaga, were threads in a web he wove with patience. Yet, these were not years without struggle. The fields of Mikawa saw clashes, the air filled with the distant shouts of samurai and the clatter of spears. Ieyasu led his men in battle, his armor heavy under the summer sun, but he preferred negotiation to bloodshed, knowing that wars won on the field could be lost in the aftermath. The turning point came in 1600, at the Battle of Sakigahara, a moment that would define Japan's future. Imagine a vast plain shrouded in morning mist, the ground soft with autumn rain, as two armies faced each other. Ieyasu, now in his late 50s, commanded the Eastern Alliance, a coalition built through years of diplomacy. His opponents, loyal to the young heir of a fallen warlord, were formidable, their banners fluttering in the damp air. The battle was fierce, a clash of steel and strategy, but Ieyasu's true weapon was betrayal. Key allies of his enemy switched sides, mid-battle, swayed by promises of land and favor. By dusk, the field was littered with the fallen, their armor glinting faintly in the fading light, and Ieyasu stood victorious. The cost was great lives lost, loyalties broken, but the prize was greater: control of Japan. 3 years later, in 1603, Ieyasu was named shogun, the military ruler of a unified nation. Picture him in Edo Castle, its wooden walls still raw from recent construction, as he accepts the emperor's decree. His title was not one of pomp, but of power. He set about creating a system to ensure his family's rule, a structure that would bind your peasant life to the land. The daimyo were tamed, required to spend alternate years in Edo, their families held as hostages in the city. The roads buzzed with their processions, the clop of horses and the creak of palanquins, a constant rhythm. Iyasu's laws were strict, fixing society into rigid classes: samurai, peasant, artisan, merchant, each with its place, unchangeable as the seasons. Yet, even as Shogun Iyasu's life was not without shadows. He retired in 1605, passing the title to his son, but he never relinquished control. From his castle in Sanpu, surrounded by gardens where the air carried the scent of pine, he watched his successors, wary of rebellion. His final years were marked by one last act of ruthlessness: the siege of Osaka Castle in 1615, where he crushed the last remnants of his rivals. The castle burned, its smoke rising into the winter sky, and with it, the last threat to his dynasty faded. Iyasu died the following year, his body laid to rest in a shrine at Nikko, where the wind whispers through cedar trees. His legacy was the Edo period itself, a time of peace and order, but also of constraint. The world you, the peasant, inhabit is his creational land where the sword is sheathed, but the weight of duty presses down on every shoulder. Iyasu's life was one of calculated steps, each move deliberate, each alliance a stone in the foundation of his rule. As we leave him, seated in the quiet of his castle, his eyes still scanning the horizon, we see a man who shaped an era, not with fire, but with patience. From the heights of Iyasu's power, let us turn to those who lived beyond the reach of his castles, in the northern wilds of Japan. There, the Ainu people wove their own stories, their culture a mystery that even the shogunate could not fully unravel. Let us explore their world next. As the echoes of Tokugawa Iyasu's rule fade, and the ordered world of Edo Japan settles into its familiar rhythm, let us journey northward, beyond the rice fields and castle towns, to a land of dense forests and rugged coasts. Here, in the island now called Hokkaido, lived the Ainu, an indigenous people whose way of life was as distinct from the samurai and peasants as the stars are from the earth. Their culture, rich with rituals and stories, was a tapestry woven from the land itself. Yet much of it has slipped into the shadows of time, leaving behind fragments that whisper of a lost world. Imagine yourself standing on a windswept cliff, the air sharp with the scent of salt and pine, as we unravel the mystery of the Ainu and their fading legacy. The Ainu were not part of the shogunate's rigid hierarchy. Theirs was a world of villagers nestled along rivers and shores, where the land provided and the spirits, or kamae, governed all things. Picture a cluster of wooden houses, their roofs covered in bark, smoke curling from chimneys into the crisp air. The Ainu lived by hunting, fishing, and gathering, their days shaped by the cycles of salmon runs and bear migrations. You might see a man casting a net into a rushing river, the water glinting with fish, or a woman weaving cloth from elm bark, her hands moving in a steady, practiced rhythm. Their tools were simple bone hooks, wooden spears, stone knives, but their knowledge of the land was profound, honed over centuries in a place where winter's bite was fierce and summer's bounty fleeting. At the heart of Ainu life was their reverence for the kamae, the spirits that inhabited every bear, tree, and stream. Imagine yourself seated by a fire in a ceremonial house, the air heavy with the scent of burning wood and dried herbs. The Ainu believed that the world was alive with these spirits, and their rituals were a way to honor and appease them. One of the most striking was the Ayomante, the bear ceremony, a practice that has puzzled scholars and outsiders alike. A bear cub would be raised by the village, fed and cared for like a child, its presence a quiet hum of sacred duty. After years, the bear was released in a ritual that sent its spirit back to the kamae, a moment of solemn chants and offerings. The act was not one of cruelty, but of balance, a way to thank the land for its gifts. The crackle of the fire, the low voices of the elders, the weight of tradition, these filled the air during such rites, binding the community to the unseen. Yet, the Ainu's world was not untouched by the Edo period's reach, as the shogunate expanded its influence. Particularly in the 17th and 18th centuries, the Ainu were drawn into trade with the Japanese. Picture a coastal trading post, where Ainu hunters bartered furs, salmon, and deer hides for iron tools, rice, and sake. The Matsumi clan, tasked with overseeing Hokkaido, controlled these exchanges, their wooden forts stark against the wild landscape. But this contact came at a cost. The Ainu were often exploited, their goods undervalued, their autonomy. Some resisted, launching uprisings against the Matsumi, their spears raised in defiance. These clashes, though fierce, were fleeting. their outcomes marked by quiet surrender rather than lasting victory. The land absorbed the echoes of these struggles, as it always had. The mystery deepens when we consider what has been lost. The Ainu had no written language. Their stories and knowledge passed through oral tradition, sung in the cadence of epic poems called you. Imagine an elder, her voice steady as she recounts the deeds of heroes or the origins of the alchemy, the firelight casting shadows on the walls. These tales were the Ainu's history, their philosophy, their map of the world. But as Edo Japan pressed northward, and later, as the Meiji era brought forced assimilation, many of these stories faded. Missionaries and officials, their ink-stained hands recording only what they deemed worthy, overlooked the richness of Ainu lore. Archaeological finds, carved wooden trays, intricate embroidery, ritual sites offer glimpses of their culture, but they are fragments, like leaves scattered by the wind. What remains is a question. What was the Ainu's world truly like before the shogunate's shadow fell? Some scholars suggest their rituals held clues to ancient migrations, linking them to peoples across the Bering Sea. Others see their reverence for nature as a philosophy that could have shaped a different Japan, had it not been silenced. The artifacts unearthed in Hokadoba skulls arranged in sacred patterns, tools etched with swirling designs speak of a people who saw the divine in the everyday. Yet, the voices that could explain these relics are gone, leaving us to piece together a puzzle with missing edges. As we linger in this northern land, the wind carries the faint call of a seabird, and the forest rustles with unseen life. The Ainu's culture, though diminished, was not erased. Their descendants carry forward traces of their language and traditions, a quiet resistance against time. For now, we leave their mystery unresolved. A gentle reminder that history holds secrets even the most ordered society cannot fully claim. From the wilds of Hokkaido, let us return to the heart of Edo Japan, where power and privilege shaped a very different life. Imagine yourself not as a peasant or an Ainu hunter, but as a samurai, dwelling in the grandeur of Edo Castle. Let us explore that world next. As the mysteries of the Ainu fade into the northern winds, let us turn our steps southward, to the heart of Edo Japan, where the air hums with the weight of power and tradition. Imagine yourself no longer a peasant toiling in the fields, nor a hunter in the wilds, but a samurai, a warrior of the elite, standing within the walls of Edo Castle. The year is deep in the 17th century, and you are a retainer to the shogun. Your life, a blend of privilege, duty, and unrelenting expectation. Picture the soft clink of your sword against your side, the rustle of silk as you move through polished corridors. This is a world apart from the muddy paddies, yet it carries its own burdens, its own rhythms. Let us wander through a day in your life, where honor is both shield and chain. You rise at dawn, not to the crow of a rooster, but to the quiet summons of a servant, their footsteps soft on the tatami mats. Your chambers are spare yet elegant, the air carrying the faint scent of cedar from the polished walls, and the ink of a nearby scroll. You dress in layered robes, their deep indigo and subtle patterns marking your status, though the weight of the cloth reminds you of the formality that governs your every move. Your two swords, a long katana and a shorter wakizashi, are fastened at your waist, their presence a constant reminder of your role as both protector and enforcer of the shogun's will. As you step into the morning light, the castle's stone walls loom around you, their surfaces cool and unyielding, a fortress of power in the heart of the city. Edo Castle is a world unto itself, a sprawling complex of towers, gardens, and halls where the shogun and his retainers orchestrate the fate of Japan. You walk along a corridor, the wooden floors creaking, faintly designed, they say, to sing like nightingales and warn of intruders. The air is alive with the murmur of scribes, the rustle of paper, and the distant clang of guards training in the courtyard. Your day begins with a meeting in the audience hall, a vast room where the shogun's throne sits beneath a canopy of gold and crimson. You kneel on the tatami, your head bowed, as reports are retaxes from distant domains, disputes among daimyo, whispers of unrest. The shogun's voice is measured, his presence commanding, and you feel the weight of his gaze, a reminder that loyalty is your currency, and failure is unthinkable. Your duties vary with the day. Some mornings you train in the dojo, your sword slicing through the air in practiced arcs, the scent of sweat and straw mingling as you spar with fellow samurai. The movements are precise, almost meditative, a discipline that calms the mind even as it sharpens the body. Other days, You ride out to inspect the city, your horse's hooves clopping on the packed earth of Edo's streets. The townsfolk part before you, their eyes averted, their whispers trailing in your wake. You are a symbol of order, but also a figure of fear, your authority resting on the edge of your blade. A merchant's slight, a peasant's insolence, these could demand a response, though you know the shogun frowns on reckless violence. Restraint is your strength, as much as your sword. Midday brings a meal in a quiet chamber, the food a stark contrast to the peasant's fare. Imagine a lacquered tray before you, holding steamed rice, miso soup with silken tofu and grilled fish, its skin crisp and fragrant. There are pickled plums, their sharp tang, a fleeting pleasure, and a cup of green tea, its warmth soothing as you sip. You eat slowly, joined by other samurai, your conversation muted, touching on poetry or the latest kabuki play forbidden to your class, yet whispered about in private. These moments of ease are rare, for your life is not your own. Your loyalty belongs to your lord, your actions governed by Bushido, the unwritten code of honor that demands courage, duty, and sacrifice. The afternoon might find you in the castle's archives, reviewing documents with a scribe, the air thick with the musty scent of old paper. You oversee land surveys or settle disputes between vassals, your decisions carrying the shogun's authority. Or perhaps you attend a tea ceremony, a ritual of serene precision, where the whisk of matcha and the clink of a ceramic bowl create a fleeting stillness. Yet, even in these moments, tension lingers. Rivalries among samurai simmer beneath the surface, and a misstep, a poorly chosen word, a failure in duty could strip you of your status, casting you into the ranks of the ronin, masterless and adrift. As evening falls, you return to your chambers, the castle now quiet save for the soft tread of guards on patrol. You kneel before a small shrine, offering a prayer to your ancestors, the incense curling upward in delicate spirals. Your life is one of privilege, yes, but also of constraint. You cannot marry without your lord's permission, nor travel freely. Your family, if you have one, lives under the same scrutiny, their safety tied to your success. The threat of rebellion or betrayal hangs like a distant cloud, and the memory of samurai who fell from grace haunts your thoughts. To be a samurai is to live on a knife's edge, where honor is both your pride and your prison. As you lay your swords beside your mat and prepare for sleep, the castle's walls seem to hum with the weight of centuries. Your world is one of beauty and discipline, of power and peril, a stark contrast to the peasant's endless toil. Yet, like them, you are bound to the rhythm of Edo Japan, a society where every step is measured, every duty eternal. From the polished halls of Edo Castle, let us turn to a craft that captured the fleeting joys of this world. Beyond the samurai's gaze, artisans created works of art that spoke of beauty and let us explore the delicate world of ukiyo-e next. As the samurai retires to his chambers in Edo Castle and the weight of duty settles over the night, let us step away from the world of power and privilege into the quieter streets of Edo's bustling city. Here, in the workshops of artisans, a different kind of beauty takes shape, one that captures the fleeting pleasures of life. Imagine yourself standing in a small, cluttered studio, the air thick with the scent of ink and freshly carved wood, as a craftsman leans over a block of cherry, his tools glinting in the soft light of a paper lantern. This is the world of ukiyo-e, the art of woodblock printing, where images of actors, geishas, and landscapes are born, each print a whisper of the floating world. Let us linger here, tracing the delicate process that brought color and story to Edo Japan. The term ukiyo-e means pictures of the floating world, a name that evokes the transient joys of the theater, the pleasure districts, and the changing seasons. These prints were not for the elite, but for the merchants and townsfolk who sought beauty in their everyday lives. Picture yourself in the artisan's workshop, its walls lined with shelves of paper and jars of pigment, the floor dusted with fine wood shavings. The process begins with the artist, a master like Hokusai or Hiroshige, who sketches a design in ink on thin paper. The drawing is simple yet precise, capturing the curve of a kabuki actor's pose or the sweep of a mountain under snow. The artist's brush moves with a rhythm as steady as the tides, each stroke a meditation on form. The sketch is passed to the carver, whose work is the heart of ukiyo-e. Imagine sitting beside him as he selects a block of cherry wood, its grain smooth and tight, chosen for its ability to hold fine lines. He glues the artist's drawing face down onto the block, the paper crinkling softly as it adheres. With a set of chisels, their edges honed to a razor's sharpness, he begins to carve, following the inked lines with a precision that seems almost otherworldly. The tap of his mallet is soft but steady, a quiet percussion that fills the room. He removes the wood between the lines, leaving raised ridges that will carry the image. The work is slow, sometimes taking days for a single block, and the air grows heavy with the earthy scent of sawdust. Each block is a negative, a mirror of the final print, and the carver's skill lies in preserving every nuance of the artist's vision. Once the key block is carved, it is time for the printer's art. Picture yourself watching as the printer prepares his materials, the room now alive with the faint clink of ceramic bowls and the rustle of handmade paper, crafted from mulberry fibers for its strength and softness. He brushes ink onto the block, a rich black made from soot and glue, its consistency tested by the sheen it leaves behind. A sheet of paper is laid gently over the block, and the printer rubs it with a buron, a flat disc wrapped in bamboo leaf, applying even pressure to transfer the ink. The motion is circular, almost hypnotic, the baron's faint scrape blending with the printer's steady breaths. This first print, the key block, outlines the image, a skeleton of lines waiting for color. Color blocks follow, one for each hue in the final print. Imagine the carver returning to his bench, creating new blocks for red, blue, yellow, and more, each aligned perfectly with the key block. The printer applies pigments ground from minerals and plants safflower for crimson, indigo for deep blue, turmeric for golden yellow. The air carries a faint, earthy temps as the pigments are mixed with rice paste to ensure smooth application. Each color requires a new block, a new round of printing, the paper aligned with pinpoint accuracy using small marks carved into the wood. The process is meticulous, the printer's hands moving with a grace born of years of practice. The room filled with the soft rustle of paper and the occasional drip of water from a damp cloth used to keep the paper pliable. The final print, when lifted from the last block, is a marvel of harmony. Picture it held to the light, its colors vibrant yet delicata. Geisha in a flowing kimono, her fan raised, or a wave curling against a distant Mount Fuji, its peak dusted with snow. These images were sold in Edo's shops, their prices affordable to merchants and artisans who hung them in their homes or shared them like stories. They captured moments of beauty, but also of impermanence, a reminder that the pleasures of the floating world were as fleeting as cherry blossoms in spring. The artisans themselves lived modest lives, their workshops tucked among the city's narrow alleys. They were not celebrated like samurai or poets, yet their work outlived them, carried across Japan and, later, to distant shores. The act of creating ukiyo-e was a quiet rebellion against the shogunate's rigid order, a celebration of the ephemeral in a society bound by duty. As you stand in the workshop, the lantern's glow fading, you can almost hear the echo of the carver's chisel, the printer's baron, crafting beauty from wood and ink, from the artisan's studio, where the floating world was captured in color. Let us step into a structure that embodied the shogun's power and paranoia. Picture yourself approaching a castle, its floor singing with every step. Let us explore the grandeur of Neo Castle next, as the delicate prints of Ukiyo fade into the soft glow of the artisan's lantern. Let us leave the cluttered workshops of Edo's streets and journey to a place where power and artistry converge. Imagine yourself standing before Neo Castle, in the heart of Kyoto, its stone walls rising like silent sentinels against the evening sky. It is the mid-17th century, and this fortress, built by the Tokugawa shogunate, is a testament to both grandeur and vigilance. Picture the faint creak of its wooden gates, the scent of polished cedar drifting on the breeze, and the weight of history pressing gently against your senses. Let us wander through its halls, where every detail tells a story of authority, beauty, and subtle fear. Neo Castle is not a fortress of war, like the towering keeps of feudal lords, but a residence, a place where the shogun displayed his might through elegance rather than force. As you approach, the outer moat reflects the clouds, its waters still and dark, a quiet barrier between the world outside and the secrets within. You cross a bridge, your footsteps muffled on the wooden planks, and pass through the Karaman Gate, its intricate carvings of cranes and pine trees glowing faintly in the twilight. The air is cool, tinged with the earthy scent of moss clinging to the stone walls, and the castle's silhouette looms ahead, low and sprawling, its tiled roofs curving gently upward like the wings of a resting bird. Inside, you enter the Ninamaru Palace, the heart of Neo Castle, where the shogun met with daimyo and conducted the business of rule. The corridors are lined with sliding doors, or fusuma, painted with vivid scenes of tigers, peonies, and waterfalls, their colors soft by time but still radiant in the lantern light. The tatami mats beneath your feet are soft, their faint grassy scent mingling with the polish of the wooden beams above. But what draws your attention most is the sound of soft, chirping creak with every step you take. These are the nightingale floors, a marvel of engineering designed to sing like birds when walked upon, a subtle defense against assassins in a world where trust was scarce. The sound is gentle, almost musical, a constant whisper of the shogun's paranoia woven into the very structure of his home. Imagine pausing in the great audience hall, where the shogun once sat on a raised platform, his robes pooling around him, his presence commanding silence from the kneeling lords before him. The room is vast, its ceiling coffered and gilded, the air heavy with the scent of lacquer and incense. The walls are adorned with paintings by the Kano school, their bold strokes depicting nature in harmonious balance, a reflection of the shogunate's claim to divine order. Yet, the beauty is deceptive. Hidden behind the screens, in narrow chambers, samurai guards once crouched, ready to spring at the first sign of treachery. The castle is a stage, its splendor a performance of power, but its heart beats with caution. As you move deeper, you pass through smaller rooms, each a masterpiece of restraint. The willow room, with its delicate paintings of drooping branches, feels like a breath of spring, the air light and cool. The black room, used for private meetings, is darker, its walls absorbing the light, the silence almost tangible. In each space, the interplay of wood, paper, and paint creates a sense of harmony, a balance that mirrors the Confucian ideals of the Edo period. The castle's design is deliberate, every angle calculated to awe and control, to remind visitors of the shogun's unassailable authority. Beyond the palace, the gardens unfold, a world of quiet beauty. Picture yourself strolling along a gravel path, the stones crunching softly underfoot as you pass a pond where koi glide beneath the surface, their colors flickering in the dappled light. Pine trees, their branches twisted by careful pruning, frame the view, their needles rustling in the breeze. A stone lantern stands at the water's edge, its weathered surface softened by moss, a silent witness to countless seasons. The garden is not wild, but sculpted, each element placed to evoke serenity and permanence, a counterpoint to the transient world beyond the walls. Yet, even here, the castle's purpose is Clith the Garden is a space for contemplation, but also for surveillance, its open spaces offering no cover for those who might plot against the shogun. The construction of Nio Castle, begun in 1603 and expanded over decades, was a feat of craftsmanship and resources. Thousands of laborers, their hands calloused from hauling stone and timber, toiled under the direction of master builders. The wood came from distant forests, the paintings from the finest artists, the gold leaf from artisans who worked in dim workshops. The cost was immense, drawn from the taxes of peasants, like those we met earlier, their rice sustaining this monument to power. Yet, the castle's true genius lies in its duality. It is both a home and a fortress, a place of beauty and a tool of control, its nightingale floor singing a lullaby of suspicion. As you stand in the garden, the air growing cooler as night falls. The castle seems to breathe around you, its walls holding the echoes of audiences, betrayals, and quiet moments of reflection. Neo Castle is a wonder, not for its size, but for its precision, its ability to embody an era's aspirations and fears. It stands as a monument to the Tokugawa, a world where power was as delicate as the brushstrokes on its walls. From the serene yet guarded halls of Neo Castle, let us step into the vibrant pulse of Edo Japan's commerce. Imagine yourself in the crowded streets of Osaka, where merchants haggle and fortunes are made. Let us explore the world of trade next, as the tranquil gardens of Neo Castle fade into the soft rustle of pine. Let us leave the world of shogunal splendor and journey to the bustling heart of commerce in Edo Japan. Picture yourself in Osaka, the kitchen of the nation, where the air hums with the chatter of merchants and the clink of coins. It is the 18th century, and you are a trader in the city's merchant quarters, navigating a maze of narrow streets lined with shops and storehouses. The scent of sake barrels and roasted chestnuts drifts through the air, mingling with the faint temps of river water from the nearby canals. This is a world of barter and ambition, where fortunes rise and fall with the rhythm of trade. Let us wander through a day in Osaka's markets, where the pulse of the economy beats strong. Osaka is a city of motion, its streets alive with the shuffle of straw sandals and the creak of wooden carts. As you step into the merchant quarter, the morning sun casts long shadows across the packed earth, illuminating signs painted with bold characters that announce rice brokers, cloth dealers, and tea shops. Your shop is modest, its wooden facade weathered by years of rain, but its shelves are neatly arranged with goods bolts of cotton, jars of miso, and small stacks of dried fish wrapped in straw. The air inside is cool, heavy with the earthy scent of rice stored in woven sacks, and the soft clatter of an abacus as your apprentice tallies the day's accounts. You are a merchant, a member of the lowest class in the shogunate's hierarchy. Yet here, in Osaka, your trade is the lifeblood of the city. Your day begins early, as boats unload their cargo along the Yoda River, their sails flapping gently in the breeze. Imagine yourself at the docks, haggling with a boatman over a shipment of rice from a distant province. The sacks are heavy, their contents the currency of the realm, for rice is not just food, but the measure of wealth, taxed from peasants and traded for profit. You offer a price, your voice calm but firm, knowing that a good deal could secure your family's comfort for months. The boatman counters, his hands gesturing to the quality of the grain, and after a quiet exchange, you agree, the transaction sealed with a nod and a note in your ledger. The air is thick with the scent of damp wood and river mud, a reminder of the waterways that tie Osaka to the nation. Back in the market, the streets grow crowded as the day unfolds. Picture yourself, weaving through the throng, past stalls where vendors call out their wares in a steady sing-song cadence. A woman sells pickled plums, their sharp aroma cutting through the air, while a man displays lacquered bowls, their surfaces gleaming in the sunlight. You pause to barter for a bolt of indigo-dyed cloth, its texture smooth beneath your fingers, a luxury that will fetch a high price in Edo. The merchant's eyes are sharp, but you know the game, offering a mix of coin and a promise of future rice deliveries. The negotiation is a dance, each step measured, the outcome a balance of trust and calculation. Trade in Osaka is governed by rules, both written and unspoken. The shogunate's sumptuary laws dictate what you may wear or sell, ensuring that merchants, despite their wealth, remain below the samurai in status. Your robes are simple, your home modest, even if your coffers grow heavy with copper coins. Yet, these restrictions breed ingenuity. You join a guild, a network of merchants who pool resources to secure better deals or protect against bandits on the Tokaido Road. In quiet meetings, held in a tea house where the air carries the faint bitterness of roasted tea, you discuss market trends, whispering of daimyo debts or crop failures that could shift prices. The guild is your shield, but also a reminder of the shogunate's watchful eye, its officials ever present, their ledgers tracking every transaction. The risks of trade are many. Fires, common in a city of wooden buildings, could reduce your shop to ash. The crackle of flames a merchant's worst fear. A bad harvest might spike rice prices, squeezing your margins, while a dishonest partner could vanish with your goods. The canals, vital for transport, sometimes flood, their waters claiming cargoes and livelihoods. Yet, there are moments of reward. A successful deal brings the soft clink of coins into your strongbox, the weight of silver, a quiet comfort. You might treat your family to a rare delicacy, a sweet rice cake, its texture soft and faintly sweet, shared in the dim light of your home. As evening falls, the market quiets, the stalls closing one by one, their shutters rattling into place. You stand at your shop's entrance, watching the last carts trundle away, the air now cool and tinged with the smoky scent of charcoal fires. The day's work is done, but your mind lingers on tomorrow's deals, the endless cycle of buying and selling that defines your life. To be a merchant in Osaka is to live in a world of opportunity, but also of precarity, where every transaction is a step on a narrow path. The city hums around you, its energy a contrast to the peasant's toil, Yet like them, you are bound to the rhythm of Edo Japan, a society where wealth is fleeting and order eternal. From the lively markets of Osaka, where coins and goods change hands, let us turn to a story that captured the hearts of Edo's people. Beyond the shops and streets, a tale of loyalty and sacrifice echoed through the ages. Let us explore the legend of the 47 Ronin next. As the merchant quarters of Osaka settle into the quiet of evening, and the clatter of coins gives way to the soft glow of lanterns, let us step away from the world of commerce and into the realm of story. Imagine yourself seated in a modest tea house, the air warm with the scent of cedar and the faint bitterness of brewed tea, as a storyteller's voice rises above the murmur of the crowd. It is the early 18th century, and the tale being shared is one that has captured the heart of Edo Japan, a story of loyalty, honor, and sacrifice, known as the tale of the 47 Ronin. This is not a myth of gods or spirits, but a human drama rooted in real events, woven into legend by the people who cherished it. Let us drift through this tale, its cadence as soothing as the rhythm of a lullaby, carrying us deeper into the soul of the Edo period. The story begins in 1701, in the grand halls of Edo Castle, where a daimyo named Asano Naganori, Lord of Ako, walked the polished corridors we explored earlier. Picture him, a man of middle years, his robes heavy with the weight of his rank, his demeanor calm but strained. Asano was tasked with hosting envoys from the imperial court, a duty requiring flawless etiquette under the shogun's watchful eye. But his guide in these matters, a high-ranking official named Kira Yoshinaka, was a man of sharp words and sharper greed. The air between them crackled with tension, the scent of incense in the castle halls doing little to ease the growing rift. Kira, it is said, demanded bribes that Asano refused to pay, his pride as a samurai outweighing his caution. One spring day, in a moment that would echo through history, Asano's restraint broke. Imagine the scene, a corridor lined with sliding screens, the soft chirp of nightingale floors, and a sudden flash of steel. Asano drew his sword and struck at Kira, wounding him before guards intervened. The act was unthinkable violation of the shogun's peace within the castle. The consequence was swift and merciless. Asano was ordered to take his own life through seppuku, a ritual that restored his honor but ended his line. His castle in Ako was confiscated, his family disgraced, and his samurai, now masterless Ronin, were cast adrift. The air in Ako grew heavy with sorrow. The town's banners lowered, the silence broken only by the rustle of wind through empty courtyards. Among these Ronin was Oishi Kuranosuke, Asano's chief retainer, a man whose loyalty burned like a steady flame. Picture him kneeling in a small room, the tatami mats worn beneath him as he gathered the scattered samurai. The group numbered 47 men of varying ages, their armor stored away, their futures uncertain. Oishi proposed a plan, not of reckless vengeance, but of patience, a strategy as deliberate as the shogun's own rule. They would wait, blend into the world, and strike when Kira's guard was down. The Ronin dispersed, some becoming merchants, others laborers, their samurai spirit hidden beneath common robes. The air in Edo buzzed with rumors, but Kira, safe in his mansion, dismissed the threat, believing time had dulled their resolve. For nearly 2 years, Oishi played his part, frequenting steakhouses, his laughter loud, his demeanor careless. Imagine him stumbling through Edo's streets, the scent of rice wine clinging to his clothes, all to convince spies that he was no threat. Behind this facade, he met secretly with the others, their whispers carried on the night air, their plans etched in memory rather than paper. The Ronin prepared, gathering weapons, mapping Kira's mansion, and steeling their hearts for what lay ahead. The weight of their oath too, avenge their lord, pressed against them, a duty that bound them as tightly as any chain. On a snowy night in December 1702, the moment arrived. Picture the streets of Edo blanketed in white, the air sharp with cold, the city's silence save for the crunch of boots. The 47 Ronin, clad in black, their faces set, approached Kira's mansion. They moved with precision, scaling walls, subduing guards with swift, silent strikes. The clash, when it came, was brief but fierce, the air filled with the clatter of swords and the shouts of men. Kira was found, cowering in a storeroom, and offered the chance to die with honor. He refused, and so the Ronin fulfilled their oath, their task complete as dawn broke over the snow-dusted roofs. The outcome was final. the price paid in full, leaving the mansion quiet once more. The Ronin did not flee. They marched to Asano's grave, presenting Kira's fate as an offering, then surrendered to the shogunate. The air in Edo grew thick with debate. Were they heroes of loyalty or criminals of vengeance? The shogun, torn between justice and sympathy, ordered their deaths, but granted them the honor of In early 1703, the 47 Ronin met their end, their story sealed in blood and snow. Their graves, now a pilgrimage site, where incense burned softly in the morning mist. The tale spread, first in whispers, then in plays and prints, its themes of loyalty resonating with a people bound by duty. Imagine the tea house where we began, the storyteller's voice rising and falling, the listeners leaning closer, their tea growing cold. The 47 Ronin became a legend, a mirror held to Edo Japan's soul, reflecting the tension between honor and order. As we leave this story, the lantern's glow dims, and the tea house falls silent, the tale lingering like a melody in the air. From the timeless story of the 47 Ronin, let us turn to the lives of those who moved through Edo's society with grace and constraint. Imagine yourself in the world of women, from geishas to peasant wives, whose roles shaped the fabric of this era. Let us explore their stories next. As the tale of the 47 Ronin fades into the quiet of the tea, its echoes of loyalty lingering like the scent of incense, let us step back into the broader world of Edo Japan, where countless lives wove the fabric of this ordered society. Imagine yourself moving through the streets of a bustling town, the air alive with the soft clatter of Geta sandals and the murmur of voices. Among these voices are those of women geishas, peasant wives, merchants' daughters, and noble ladies whose roles, though often unseen, were as vital as the samurai's sword or the merchant's coin. Their days were shaped by duty, tradition, and moments of quiet strength. Let us wander through their world, exploring the lives of women in Edo society, where beauty and burden walked hand in hand. Picture yourself in a small village, much like the one where our peasant toiled, but now you are a farmer's wife, rising before dawn in a thatched hut. The air is cool, heavy with the scent of straw and the faint smoke of a dying fire. Your hands, roughened by years of work, pull on a simple kimono, its indigo fabric faded from countless washings. Your day begins with the rhythm of the household stoking the hearth, boiling water for tea, and preparing a modest breakfast of rice and pickled radish. The soft scrape of a wooden spoon against a pot fills the room, a steady counterpoint to the distant crow of a rooster. As a peasant woman, your life is tethered to the land, not just through your husband's labor, but through your own. You tend a small garden, pulling weeds under the summer sun, or carry water from the well, the bucket's weight pressing into your shoulders. Your role extends beyond the home. When the harvest comes, you join the men in the fields, your back bent as you gather rice stalks, the air thick with the earthy scent of cut grain. In winter, you weave straw mats or mend clothing by the firelight, your fingers deft despite the cold. The village is a community, and you share tasks with other women pounding rice into flour, the rhythmic thump of pestles echoing through the air, or gathering at the river to wash laundry, the water icy against your hands. These moments, though laborious, are threaded with quiet connection, the soft laughter or shared stories easing the weight of the day. Yet, your life is not your own. Confucian ideals, woven into Edo's social order, place you under the authority of your husband, your father, or your son, your duties defined by their needs. Now, let us shift to the city, to the pleasure district of Yoshiwara in Edo, where a different kind of woman navigates a world of art and constraint. Imagine yourself as a geisha, stepping into a tea house where the air is fragrant with the scent of sandalwood and the delicate strum of a Your kimono is vibrant, its silk shimmering under lantern light, but its weight is a reminder of the role you play. As a geisha, you are an artist, trained from youth in music, dance, and conversation, your every gesture polished to perfection. Your day begins late, after mornings spent practicing a new song or perfecting the intricate folds of your obi. By evening, you entertain samurai and merchants, pouring sake with a graceful tilt of the wrist, your laughter bright but measured, your words chosen to charm without crossing unseen lines. The life of a geisha is one of beauty, but also of sacrifice. You entered this world young, perhaps sold by a struggling family, your freedom traded for a contract that binds you to the okiya, the house that trains and shelters you. The air in Yoshiwara is alive with music and laughter, but it masks a deeper, truthier debts to the Okiya, for your training and finery may take years to repay. You move through the district's lantern-lit streets, your wooden clogs clicking softly, aware of the guards at the gates, for Yoshiwara is a walled world, and you cannot leave without permission. Yet, within these confines, you wield a subtle power, your wit and artistry, earning the admiration of men who rule the land. Your presence a fleeting escape from their duties. In the merchant class, women carve out different roles. Picture yourself as the wife of an Osaka rice broker. Your home a sturdy wooden structure filled with the scent of polished floors and stored goods. You manage the household accounts, your brush moving steadily across a ledger, tracking profits from the day's trades. Your husband may lead the business, but your calculations ensure its success. Your knowledge of prices and seasons as sharp as any merchant's. You teach your daughters to read and write, skills that will serve them in marriage, and oversee the preparation of meals. The air rich, with the aroma of simmering miso or grilled fish. Your life is one of relative comfort, but the shogunate's laws limit your display of wealth. Your kimono must be plain. Your home, unadorned, lest you draw the envy of samurai. Even among the elite, women's lives are bound by expectation. Imagine a daimyo's wife in a castle, her chambers adorned with painted screens. The air soft with the scent of camellia oil used to dress her hair. Her days are filled with ritual overseeing tea ceremonies, composing poetry, or managing the household's women. But her role is political, her marriage an alliance, her behavior a reflection of her lord's honor. Her influence is subtle, wielded through whispered advice or carefully chosen gifts, yet she is confined, her movements restricted to the women's quarters. Her life a delicate balance of power and restraint. Across these roles, women face shared challenges. Childbirth was a quiet peril, the air in a birthing room thick with the scent of herbs and the prayers of midwives, for many did not survive the ordeal. Disease, too, took its toll, sweeping through villages and cities alike, leaving families to mourn in silence. Yet, women found ways to shape their world through the stories they told, the crafts they perfected, or the quiet defiance of a geisha's smile. Their lives were threads in Edo's tapestry, woven with resilience and grace. As we leave this world, the streets of Edo grow quiet, the lanterns dimming one by one. The lives of women, though bound by duty, were as varied as the seasons, each contributing to the rhythm of this era in their own way. From the intricate lives of Edo's women, let us turn to a moment when the shogunate's order was tested. Picture a rebellion, born of faith and desperation, that shook the south. Let us explore the Shimabara rebellion next. As the lives of Edo's women fade into the quiet hum of their daily rhythms, let us journey southward, away from the lantern-lit streets of the city to a land of rolling hills and coastal plains. It is the year 1637, and we find ourselves in the Shimabara Peninsula, a region heavy with the weight of hardship and unrest. Imagine standing on a windswept hill, the air sharp with the scent of salt from the nearby sea, the distant murmur of a discontented people rising like a tide. Here, a rebellion took root, born of desperation, faith, and defiance against the shogunate's iron rule. Known as the Shimabara Rebellion, this uprising shook the foundations of Edo Japan, its echoes a reminder of the fragility beneath the era's order. Let us walk gently through this moment, its story unfolding with the steady cadence of history. The Shimabara Peninsula, in Kyushu, was a land of stark contrasts. Its fertile fields promised abundance, but for the peasants who worked them, life was a constant struggle. Picture the familiar scene of rice paddies, their surfaces glinting under the autumn sun, yet the harvest was not theirs to keep. The local daimyo Matsukura, Katsui, imposed taxes so crushing that families went hungry, their storehouses emptied to fill the lord's coffers. The air in the villages was thick with the scent of damp earth and the quiet despair of those who toiled, their hands calloused, their futures tethered to the land. Compounding their suffering were years of drought and famine, the fields yielding less with each season, the rivers running low, their waters unable to sustain the crops. Among these peasants were many who clung to a forbidden faith, Christianity, brought to Japan decades earlier by Portuguese missionaries. Despite the shogunate's ban, enforced with decrees and patrols, small communities held secret gatherings, their prayers whispered in the dim light of hidden rooms, the air heavy with the scent of straw and fear. The Matsukura clan, eager to prove their loyalty to the shogun, hunted these believers with zeal, their punishments harsh and unyielding. The faithful faced exile, or worse, their lives uprooted in a land already strained by want. It was in this crucible of suffering that a spark ignited, fanned by both spiritual conviction and earthly grievance. The rebellion began in October 1637, led by a young man named a charismatic figure, barely 16, yet revered as a leader. Picture him standing before a crowd, his simple robes fluttering in the breeze, his voice steady as he spoke of justice and salvation. Shiro, a Christian, was said to possess a divine calling, his words weaving hope into the hearts of the desperate. Peasants, ronin, and believers rallied to his banner, their numbers swelling to tens of thousands. They armed themselves with farming tool sickles, flails, and wooden spears, their resolve stronger than their weapons. The air in Shimabara grew taut, the villages alive with the soft clatter of preparations, as families bid farewell to fathers and sons who joined the cause. The rebels struck first at the Matsukuris outposts, their attacks swift, driven by fury. Castles fell, their wooden gates splintering under the weight of the crowd, the air filled with shouts and the crackle of fire. By late autumn, the rebels had seized Here Castle, an abandoned fortress on the coast, its stone walls weathered but defensible. Imagine the scene inside: makeshift barricades, the scent of salt and smoke, the murmur of prayers blending with the clink of scavenged armor. Shiro and his followers fortified their position, their banners raised, their spirits buoyed by the belief that their cause was just. The shogunate's response was deliberate, a gathering storm. By early 1638, an army of over 100,000, led by seasoned generals, marched to their armor glinting under the winter sun, their banners snapping in the wind. The siege of Here Castle began, a slow encirclement, the air thick with the distant thud of cannons and the shouts of commanders. The rebels held firm, their faith a shield against hunger and cold. But the shogunate's forces were relentless. Supplies dwindled within the castle, the scent of rice gruel growing faint, replaced by the ache of empty stomachs. Skirmishes flared, brief and fierce, leaving the ground marked by the fallen, their forms still in the morning frost, a silent testament to the cost of defiance. The end came in February 1638, when the shogunate's army breached the castle's defenses. The air was heavy with smoke and the clamor of steel, as the rebels fought to the last, their numbers overwhelmed. The fortress fell, its walls scarred, its halls silent save for the wind whistling through broken gates. The rebellion's leaders, including Shiro, were no more, their cause extinguished in a final stand. The shogunate, shaken by the uprising, imposed even stricter controls, rooting out Christianity and tightening its grip on the fields of Shimabara grew quiet once more, the peasants returning to their toil, the memory of the rebellion a whispered warning. The Shimabara rebellion was a fleeting challenge to the Tokugawa order, a cry from those pushed beyond endurance. Its failure reshaped Japan, closing the nation to foreign influence and cementing the shogunate's resolve to maintain control. As we stand on that windswept hill, the sea stretching before us, the peninsula seems to hold its breath, its story one of struggle and silence, a chapter in Edo's complex tapestry. From the turmoil of Shimabara, let us turn to a quieter aspect of Edo life, where the body and spirit were tended with care. Imagine yourself in a small clinic, the air soft with the scent of herbs, as we explore the world of Edo medicine next. As the echoes of the Shimabara rebellion fade into the quiet fields of Kush, and the scars of conflict settle beneath the rhythm of daily life, let us step away from the turmoil of rebellion and into a quieter corner of Edo, Japan. Imagine yourself in a small wooden clinic, tucked along a narrow street in a bustling town. The air is soft with the scent of dried herbs and the faint temps of simmering broth, the room lit by the gentle glow of a paper lantern. It is the 18th century, and you are in the care of a healer, a practitioner of Kampo, the traditional medicine that blends ancient Chinese wisdom with Japanese ingenuity. Here, in this world of balance and remedy, the body and spirit attended with care. Let us explore the soothing practices of Edo medicine, where healing was both art and ritual. In Edo, Japan, illness was not merely a physical ailment, but a disruption of harmony, a misalignment of the body's energies, or ki, influenced by the elements of yin and yang. Picture yourself seated on a tatami mat, the faint rustle of straw beneath you, as the healer, clad in a simple kimono, assesses your condition. His hands are steady, his eyes sharp, as he presses gently against your wrist, feeling the pulse that tells the story of your health. The air carries the earthy aroma of mugwort and ginger, ingredients ground into powders or steeped in hot water, their scents mingling with the soft crackle of a charcoal brazier. The healer listens to your complaints, perhaps a lingering cough, a fever that comes and goes, or an ache in your joints. His question soft, his demeanor calm, as if the act of listening itself is part of the cure. Campo, the cornerstone of Edo medicine, relied heavily on herbal remedies, each chosen for its ability to restore balance. Imagine the healer's shelves, lined with ceramic jars and bundles of dried plants, their labels written in elegant calligraphy: licorice root, to soothe the throat; peony, to calm the spirit; ginseng, to bolster strength. These were the tools of his trade, sourced from mountains, rivers, and distant traders. The preparation was meticulous, a process as rhythmic as a tea ceremony. The healer might grind herbs with a mortar and pestle, the soft scrape of stone blending with the hum of his low voice, or simmer them in a clay pot, the steam rising in delicate curls, filling the room with a warm medicinal scent. The resulting decoction, served in a small cup, was bitter, its taste lingering on the tongue, but it carried the promise of relief. Acupuncture, another pillar of Campo, was used to guide the body's ki along its pathways. Picture yourself lying on a padded mat, the air cool against your skin, as the healer selects a needle, its tip fine as a strand of hair. With a practiced hand, he inserts it at a precise point, perhaps along your arm or back. The sensation, sharp but fleeting, like a whisper of pressure. The needles, made of silver or gold, were placed with care, their positions drawn from ancient charts that mapped the body's invisible currents. The process was slow, the room silent save for your steady breaths and the occasional rustle of the healer's robes, creating a stillness that felt almost sacred. Moxibushin, the burning of mugwort on the skin, often followed, its smoky warmth easing tension, the air thick with its distinctive, earthy scent. For more serious ailments, healers turned to other methods, always with caution. Imagine a patient with a persistent fever, seated in a steam bath, the air heavy with the scent of boiled herbs, the heat coaxing sweat to the surface in hopes of purging the illness. Surgery, though rare, was not unknown, performed with small, sharp blades in dimly lit rooms, the patient fortified by sake or herbal sedatives. The healer's knowledge was vast, drawn from Chinese texts like the Huangdi Najing, adapted to Japan's climate and culture. Yet, he also relied on intuition, honed by years of practice, his hands moving with the quiet confidence of one who understood the body's subtle language. The challenges of healing in Edo Japan were many. Epidemics, like smallpox, swept through cities, leaving families to mourn in silence. The air in afflicted homes heavy with the scent of burning incense to ward off spirits. The shogunate's restrictions limited access to foreign knowledge. Though Dutch traders at Dejima introduced new ideas, their books studied in secret by curious physicians. For peasants, access to healers was scarce, their remedies often limited to folk cures brewed from local plants or prayers to the kami. Yet, even in villages, the principles of Campo were known, passed down through generations. The scent of herbs, a familiar comfort in times of need. The healer's role extended beyond the physical. He was a confidant, a guide, his clinic a place where townsfolk shared their fears and hopes. Imagine the soft murmur of conversation as a merchant describes his fatigue, or a mother seeks a remedy for her child's cough. The healer's response is gentle, his presence a steady anchor. His work was not just to heal, but to restore balance, to weave the patient back into the rhythm of life. The clinic, with its shelves of herbs and its quiet rituals, was a microcosm of Edo's world, where order and care intertwined. As you rise from the mat, the healer's remedy warming your hands in a small cup. The lantern's glow casts soft shadows on the walls. The world of Edo medicine was one of patience and precision, a quiet art that sought to mend what was broken, to soothe what was troubled. Its practices, though rooted in tradition, carried a timeless wisdom, a reminder of the body's resilience. From the gentle rituals of the healer's clinic, let us turn to a place where Edo Japan met the outside world, if only through a narrow gate. Picture a small island, surrounded by sea, where foreign traders whispered of distant lands. Let us explore the mystery of Dejima next. as the healer's clinic fades into the soft glow of its lantern, and the scent of herbs lingers like a quiet memory. Let us journey to a place where Edo Japan's tightly woven world opened, ever so slightly, to the whispers of distant lands. Imagine yourself standing on the shore of Nagasaki Bay, the air sharp with the temps of salt and the distant cry of gulls. Before you lies Dejima, a tiny fan-shaped island, its wooden walls rising from the sea like a solitary outpost. It is the 18th century, and this artificial island, no larger than a city block, was Japan's only window to the west, a place where Dutch traders lived under the shogunate's watchful eye. Dejima is a mystery, a fragment of a world apart, its secrets half buried in time. Let us step onto its narrow streets, where the air hums with the promise of the unknown. Dejima was built in 1636, a response to the shogunate's growing fear of foreign influence, particularly the spread of Christianity. The Portuguese, once welcomed in Nagasaki, were expelled, their ships banished, and the Dutch, deemed less threatening, were confined to this man-made island. Picture it as you approach, crossing a guarded bridge, the water below reflecting the overcast sky. The island is small, its streets paved with stone, lined with wooden warehouses and a handful of houses, their tiled roofs weathered by the sea's breath. The air carries the scent of tar from docked ships, mingled with the faint sweetness of spices stored in barrels. Dejima is a world within a world, a place where Japan and Europe met, yet never fully merged. Imagine yourself as a visitor, permitted only under strict conditions, your every step monitored by shogunate officials, their robes rustling softly as they note your presence in their ledgers. The Dutch traders, or red-haired barbarians, as they were sometimes called, lived in a handful of two-story houses, their windows framed in Western style, an odd contrast to the sliding screens of Japanese homes. Inside, the air is heavy with the scent of wool and tobacco, the rooms furnished with sturdy tables and chairs, a stark departure from tatamima. The traders, perhaps a dozen men, moved through their days with a quiet resignation, their lives governed by the shogunate's rules: no weapons, no women, no leaving the island without escort. Their voices, speaking in Dutch, carry a strange cadence, a reminder of the vast world beyond Japan's shores. The island's purpose was trade, a carefully controlled exchange of goods that enriched both sides. Picture the warehouses, their doors creaking open to reveal stacks of copper ingots, silk bolts, and lacquered boxes, Japan's treasures destined for European markets. In return, the Dutch brought telescopes, clocks, and books, their pages filled with knowledge of astronomy, medicine, and engineering. The air in the trading office is thick with the musty scent of paper and the soft scratch of quills as clerks record each transaction. These exchanges were not just commercial but intellectual, a slow drip of ideas that fascinated Japanese scholars who studied Dutch texts in secret, their brushes tracing foreign words by candlelight. Yet Dejima's isolation breeds mystery. What secrets did the Dutch share, and what did they withhold? Imagine standing in the island's small garden, where a few European plants tulips, perhaps, or roses struggle in the salty soil, their colors a fleeting echo of Amsterdam. The traders kept journals, their entries hinting at frustration, homesickness, and the weight of confinement. Some spoke of Japan's beauty, its mountains and festivals, glimpsed only on rare escorted trips to Nagasaki. Others wrote of the shogunate's spies, their eyes ever present, their questions probing. The Dutch were both guests and prisoners, their lives a delicate balance of cooperation and caution. The island itself was a marvel, built by laborers who hauled earth and stone to create it, their efforts hidden beneath the waves. Its walls were designed to contain, not to defend, a symbol of the shogunate's determination to control the outside world. Yet Dejima was not eternal. By the 19th century, as Japan opened to the west, the island's role diminished, its structures reclaimed by the expanding city of Nagasaki. Today, it is a memory, its outlines preserved in modern reconstructions, its streets silent save for the footsteps of curious visitors. The artifacts that remain: glass bottles, clay pipes, fragments of porcelains, peak of a time when two worlds brushed against each other, their contact as fleeting as the tide. What was Dejima's true significance? Some see it as a bridge, a place where ideas flowed despite the shogunate's barriers, shaping Japan's path toward modernization. Others view it as a cage, a testament to the Tokugawa's fear of change. The truth lies in the quiet details, the creak of a ship's hull, the rustle of a Dutchman's coat, the soft murmur of a translator bridging two languages. As you stand on the shore, the island's silhouette blurring in the evening mist, Dejima feels like a dream, its secrets carried away by the sea, leaving only questions to linger in the air. From the enigmatic shores of Dejima, let us return to the heart of Edo, Japan, where the people honored their gods and spirits in moments of joy and reverence. Picture a village alive with the sound of drums and the glow of lanterns as we explore a Matsuri festival next. As the misty silhouette of Dejima fades into the quiet lapping of Nagasaki's waves, let us leave the whispers of foreign shores and return to the heart of Edo, Japan, where the rhythm of life was shaped not only by toil and trade but by devotion. Imagine yourself in a small village, nestled among rice fields and forested hills, as the sun dips low, casting a golden glow across the landscape. It is summer, and the air hums with anticipation, alive with the distant beat of taiko drums and the soft clink of bells. Tonight, the village gathers for a Matsuri, a festival to honor the kami, the Shinto spirits that dwell in the mountains, rivers, and trees. The scent of incense and roasted rice wafts through the air, mingling with the laughter of children and the rustle of festival robes. Let us join this celebration, a moment of joy and reverence, where the sacred and the communal weave together in the gentle cadence of tradition. The Matsuri is a time when the village pauses its endless labor, setting aside the weight of the fields to connect with the divine. As you step onto the main path, now lined with paper lanterns, their warm light flickering against the dusk, you feel the energy of the community. Villagers, dressed in their finest yukata robes, dyed in soft blues and whites, move toward the local shrine, their straw sandals scuffing softly on the packed earth. You wear one too, its fabric cool against your skin, a rare change from the rough hemp of daily work. The air is warm, heavy with the scent of blooming wildflowers and the faint smokiness of torches lit along the route. The shrine, a modest wooden structure with a sloping roof, stands at the village's edge, its torii gate marking the boundary between the mundane and the sacred. The festival begins with a ritual at the shrine, led by the Kanushi, the Shinto priest, his white robes pristine, his movements deliberate. Picture yourself standing among the crowd, the air thick with the fragrance of burning cedar and the soft chant of Narito, prayers offered to the kami. The priest purifies the gathering, waving a wand adorned with paper streamers, its rustle blending with the breeze. You bow, your hands pressed together, joining the collective act of gratitude for the harvest, protection from storms, and the kami's unseen presence. A small offering, a bowl of rice, a sprig of sakaki leaves rests on the altar, its simplicity a reflection of the village's humble faith. The moment is solemn, yet comforting, the shared silence binding the community to the land and its spirits. As the ritual ends, the mood shifts, the air growing lighter, alive with the pulse of celebration. Imagine the procession that follows, as a mikoshi, a portable shrine, is hoisted onto the shoulders of young men, its gilded wood gleaming under the lanterns. The mikoshi is believed to carry the kami, and the bearers sway and chant, their voices rising in a rhythmic wasoi wasoi, the sound echoing across the fields. You walk alongside, caught in the crowd's gentle surge, the drum's deep throom vibrating in your chest. Stalls line the path, their wooden tables laden with festival foods, grilled au fish, their smoky aroma mingling with the sweetness of amaze, a fermented rice drink served warm in small cups. You pause to taste a skewer of dango, its rice dumplings, chewy and faintly sweet, a rare treat that lingers on your tongue. The festival is not just for the kami, but for the village itself, a moment to strengthen bonds. Picture women in colorful obi sashes, their laughter soft as they share stories, or children darting through the crowd, clutching paper fans painted with cranes. Elders sit on woven mats, their faces creased with smiles, recounting tales of past Matsuri, their voices a quiet hum beneath the music. A group of villagers performs a kagura dance, their movements slow and graceful, mimicking the planting of rice or the flight of a heron, their silk costumes rustling in the evening air. The flute's haunting notes and the steady beat of a drum create a melody that feels timeless, a bridge between the present and the ancient roots of Yet, even in this joy, there is order. The shogunate's influence reaches the mat, with officials ensuring the rituals align with approved practices. their presence a reminder of the hierarchy that governs all. The kami are honored, but so is the authority of the land. For the peasants, the festival is a brief respite, a chance to forget the weight of taxes and the ache of the fields. But the dawn will bring their duties back. The air, though filled with celebration, carries a faint undercurrent of this reality, a quiet acknowledgement that life resumes when the lanterns dim. As night deepens, the procession circles back to the shrine. The mikoshi return to its place with a final chant. The crowd lingers, reluctant to let the moment end. The air now cool, scented with the fading smoke of fireworks that bloomed briefly in the sky. You stand at the shrine's edge, the torii gate framing the stars, feeling the weight of the night settle gently around you. The matsuri is a tapestry of sound, scent, and spirit, a reminder of the kami's presence and the village's resilience. It is a fleeting escape, a celebration that binds the sacred to the everyday, leaving the heart full and the mind ready for rest. From the vibrant glow of the matsuri, let us turn to a moment when Edo Japan's isolation was challenged, when foreign ships arrived to reshape its future. Picture a harbor, its waters stirred by the approach of the unknown. Let us explore the opening of Japan next. As the lanterns of the matsuri dim and the village settles into the quiet of night, the joyous echoes of the kami's celebration fading into the rustle of leaves, let us journey forward in time, to a moment when the carefully ordered world of Edo Japan faced a challenge from beyond its shores. Imagine yourself standing on the rocky coast of Araga, near Edo Bay, the air sharp with the scent of seaweed and the distant cry of gulls. It is July 1853, and the horizon is marked by the dark silhouettes of foreign ships, their black hulls cutting through the waves. These are the vessels of Commodore Matthew Perry, an American naval officer whose arrival would pry open Japan's long-closed doors, ending centuries of isolation. Let us wander through this pivotal moment, its ripples reshaping the Edo period's final days, told in the gentle cadence of history. For over 2 centuries, Japan had been a nation apart, its borders sealed by the shogunate's Sakoku policy, a deliberate choice to shield the land from foreign influence. The air in coastal towns like Araga was familiar with the creak of fishing boats, not the rumble of foreign cannons. Trade was limited to a trickle through Dejima, and even then, under strict control. The shogunate's world was one of order, its hierarchy fixed, its people bound to their roles, from the peasant in the fields to the samurai in the castle. Yet, the world beyond Japan was changing, its seas crossed by steamships, its nations driven by commerce and empire. The arrival of Perry's black ships, as they were called, was a clash of eras, a moment when the past met an insistent future. Picture the scene as the ships anchor off Araga, their masts stark against the summer sky, their hulls bristling with guns. The air is tense, the townsfolk gathering at the shore, their murmurs blending with the lapping of waves. Local officials, clad in formal robes, their swords at their sides, board small boats to meet the strangers, the oars dipping rhythmically into the water. Perry, a stern figure in a navy uniform, demands an audience with the shogun, presenting a letter from President Millard Fillmore requesting trade and diplomatic relations. The letter, written on heavy paper and sealed with wax, is a quiet ultimatum, its words backed by the threat of force. The officials, trained in the shogunate's rigid protocols, hesitate, their faces impassive, the air heavy with the scent of salt and uncertainty. The shogunate, headquartered in Edo, is thrown into a rare state of indecision. Imagine the council chambers, their tatame mats worn from years of deliberation, where advisors gather under the weight of painted screens. The air is thick with the scent of ink and polished wood, the soft rustle of scrolls as they debate. Some urge defiance, their voices low but firm, citing Japan's sovereignty and the dangers of foreign faiths. Others, aware of the West's military might, counsel caution, whispering of steamships and cannons that could reduce castles to rubble. The shogun, Tokugawa Iemoshei, is young, his authority weakened by factionalism, and the decision falls to his regents. They agree to receive Perry's letter, a small concession that feels monumental, the air in the chamber heavy with the weight of change. Perry's ships depart after a brief stay, their sails catching the wind, but he promises to return for an answer. The following year, in 1854, he does, anchoring at Kanagawa with an even larger fleet. Picture the negotiations, held in a specially built hall, its wooden beams still smelling of fresh pine, the air cool with the breeze from the bay. The shogunate, pressured by the sight of American firepower, signs the Treaty of Kanagawa, opening 2 ports to U.S. ships for supplies and promising a consul to handle future talks. The treaty is modest, its terms limited, but it is a crack in the shogunate's armor, a signal to other nations Britain, Russia, France that Japan's isolation is ending. The air at the signing carries the faint clink of inkstones and the rustle of silk, a quiet ceremony that shifts the course of history. The opening of Japan sent tremors through Edo society. In the markets of Osaka, merchants whispered of new opportunities, the scent of tea and rice mingling with talk of foreign goods. In samurai halls, retainers debated the loss of honor, their swords untouched but their pride stung. For peasants, the change was distant, their lives still bound to the fields, the air thick with the scent of earth and toil. Yet, the shogunate's authority began to fray, its inability to resist the foreigners fueling discontent among reformers and rebels. The seeds of the Meiji Restoration, which would topple the Tokugawa in 1868, were sown in these moments, the air of Edo growing restless with the promise of upheaval. The impact was slow but profound. Foreigners arrived in treaty ports, their boots clopping on wooden docks, their languages strange to Japanese ears. Ideas of democracy, industry, and science trickled in, studied by scholars in lantern-lit rooms, their brushes tracing new possibilities. The black ships, once a shock, became a symbol of a world Japan could no longer ignore. For the people of Edo, Japan, the opening was both a threat and an opportunity, a moment when the rhythm of their lives, so long unchanging, began to shift. As we stand on the coast, the black ships now, distant specks on the horizon, the waves lapping gently at the shore, we sense the end of an era. The opening of Japan was not a sudden break, but a slow unraveling, a moment when the world's currents flowed into a land that had stood apart. Its story is one of quiet inevitability, a chapter that closed the Edo period with the soft sigh of a turning page. From the windswept shores of Araga, where foreign ships heralded change, let us reflect on the legacy of Edo, Japan, a world that shaped a nation's soul. Picture yourself in the present, surrounded by the echoes of this era, as we explore its lasting influence next. As the black ships fade into the horizon of Edo Bay, there sails a distant memory against the twilight sky. Let us step away from the shores of 1853 and into a quieter space where the past and present meet in gentle harmony. Imagine yourself no longer in the rice fields or castle halls of Edo, Japan, but in a modern moment, perhaps seated in a quiet room, the air soft with the scent of cedar and the faint hum of a distant city. The Edo period, with its ordered rhythms and hidden struggles, has long since passed, yet its echoes linger in the fabric of modern Japan, shaping its culture, its cities, and its soul. Let us wander through these connections, reflecting on how the world we've explored lives on, its legacy a comforting thread in the tapestry of time, guiding us toward rest. Picture a street in Tokyo, the modern incarnation of Edo, where skyscrapers rise above narrow alleys, their glass facades glinting in the morning light. The air is alive with the clatter of footsteps and the soft chime of a subway announcement. Yet beneath this bustle lies the memory of the shogunate's capital. The city's layout, with its radial roads and hidden shrines, traces back to Edo's urban planning, designed to center power at the shogun's castle, now the imperial palace. Its moats still reflecting the seasons. You might pause at a small temple, its wooden gate weathered, the scent of incense curling upward, and feel the presence of the Matsuri we joined, where the kami were honored with drums and lanterns. These festivals continue, their rhythms unchanged, binding communities in a ritual as old as the fields we walked. The spirit of Edo's artisans lives on in Japan's reverence for craftsmanship. Imagine visiting a workshop in Kyoto, where a weaver works at a loom, the soft click of wood echoing the ukiai carvers we met. The care for detail, the patience in every thread, reflects the same dedication that produced vibrant prints of the floating world. Modern Japanese design clean lines, natural materials, a balance of form and function carries the aesthetic of Nio castles, painted screens and serene gardens where beauty was a deliberate act. The air in such a workshop is thick with the scent of silk and dye, a quiet reminder that Edo's artisans shaped a legacy of precision that endures in everything from sushi knives to minimalist architecture. The social order of Edo, though dissolved, left its mark on Japan's values. Picture a classroom in Osaka, where students bow to their teacher, their movements precise, the air filled with the rustle of notebooks. The Confucian ideals that governed the lives of peasants, samurai, and winduti, respect, harmony still underpin Japanese society, softened by time but ever present. The merchant's ingenuity, seen in Osaka's bustling markets, echoes in Japan's global businesses, their ledgers now digital but their ambition unchanged. Even the geisha's artistry, once confined to Yoshiwara, lives on in the traditional performances of Kyoto's Gion district, where the shamisen notes float through lantern-lit streets, the air warm with the scent of summer. Edo's isolation, broken by Perry's ships, taught Japan the value of adaptation, a lesson that shaped its rapid modernization. Imagine standing in a Shinkansen station, the bullet train gliding silently to a stop, its sleek form a far cry from the ox carts of the Tokaido Road. Yet the discipline that built the shogunate's roads and castles fueled Japan's rise as a technological power, its engineers and innovators carrying forward the same resolve. The air in the station is cool, tinged with the faint hum of machinery, a testament to a nation that learned to embrace the world while preserving its core. The stories of Edo, like the tale of the 47 Ronin, remain woven into Japan's cultural fabric. Picture a theater in Tokyo where a kabuki play unfolds, its actors moving with the same exaggerated grace that captivated Edo's townsfolk, the air filled with the soft clap of wooden clappers. The themes of loyalty and sacrifice still resonate, retold in films, anime, and novels, their lessons as timeless as the cherry blossoms that bloom each spring. Even the Ainu, whose culture we glimpsed in Hokkaido, have seen a revival, their songs and crafts preserved by descendants, the air in their gatherings rich with the scent of cedar and tradition. The struggles of Edo disease, rebellion, the weight of hierarchy remind us of the resilience that carried its people through. Modern Japan, with its advanced medicine and stable society, owes a debt to the healers who brewed Campo remedies and the peasants who endured to feed a nation. Imagine a quiet park, its gravel paths crunching underfoot, where families gather under cherry trees, their laughter a contrast to the hardships we explored. The air is soft with the scent of blossoms, a fleeting beauty that Edo's people would have cherished, knowing life's As you reflect on these echoes, the modern world feels both distant and near, a bridge between the past and the present. Edo, Japan, with its fields and festivals, its castles and clinics, was a world of order and constraint, yet also of creativity and endurance. Its legacy is not just in Japan but in the global appreciation of its art, its stories, its way of finding meaning in the everyday. The air around you grows still, the hum of the city fading, as the past settles gently into the background, a comforting presence that eases the mind. And so, dear listener, our journey through Edo, Japan draws to a close. Its fields and castles, its stories and struggles, now a soft memory in the quiet of this moment. We have walked the muddy paths of a peasant's life, stood in the shadow of a shogun's ambition, and felt the pulse of a Matsuri's joy. We have explored the mysteries of a fading culture, the artistry of a floating world, and the tremors of a nation opening to change. Each step has been a thread in the tapestry of an era, woven with care, its patterns both distant and familiar. As you rest now, perhaps in the comfort of a modern room, the air gentle with the scent of your surroundings, let the weight of Edo's world slip away. Its hardships, the toil, the rebellion, the constraints are part of a past that shaped the present, but they are not yours to carry. The legacy of Edo lives in the beauty of a crafted bowl, the rhythm of a festival drum, the quiet discipline of a modern city, all reminders that history is not just a story, but a foundation beneath our feet. Feel your breath slow, your thoughts soften, as the echoes of Edo fade into the night. The stars above are the same that shone on rice fields and castle towers, a timeless canopy that invites you to drift. Let the gentle cadence of this journey carry you toward sleep, wrapped in the calm of a world left behind, yet ever present in the heart of Japan. Good night, dear listener, and may your dreams be as peaceful as the gardens of Neo, as enduring as the Thales of old.